Well, my name is Sydney Hartnett. I grew up with my mom and my grandma, a single mom who is 44 years older than me, and my grandma who recently passed in April at 90. But they are my two people. My grandma especially was my best friend, and I grew up with her teaching me everything from Sudoku to cooking to the little things, right? Especially growing up to be a woman, all of everything. And there was one day where she calls me up, and I used to sleep over there almost every weekend. We were best friends. We would hang out on the regular, right? But she calls me up and she says, Sydney, you are in trouble. I'm thinking, oh gosh, what did I do? And she says, did you write cool on my bathroom wall? She was using her guest bathroom and saw the words cool on her wall. And I said, no. Oh my gosh, Gigi, that's what I call her. I would never do that. Why would I do that? I know you're renting as well. I would never do that. And later on, she goes to the eye doctor. It finds out it's what is it called again? Macular degeneration. Um, and she was having a hallucination.
Hmm.
And so that was what caused it. And since that happened, our inside joke is, well, did you write cool on the wall? And the answer is obviously no. And so we had other ones like, is a Pope Catholic? Does the bear go in the woods? But really, she was full of love, and everything she did with love. And that's my biggest inspiration and why I am who I am today. And all of those little inside jokes and kindnesses that she gave to me, I think is what we all need to give to each other, right? So, yeah.
Well, hello, this is Don.
And this is Gina with Focused Healthy Family.
And today, this is podcast number 184. And today, we're talking with Sydney Hartnett with Hartnett Health. And we're going to be talking about senior fraud and scams and how to prevent them. Um, Sydney Hartnell is an independent insurance agent. She understands how essential insurance is in our daily lives, as well as the challenges it can bring. And she is passionate about helping people navigate it. Trust is key when it comes to your insurance agent, and she is committed uh, uh, to be someone her clients can rely on for knowledge and genuine support. She grew up in a beautiful Colorado, where where her love for nature and animals began, and later she moved to Charlotte, North Carolina, to be closer to family, specifically my grandma, where she has been able to experience firsthand how important health coverage is. She also values hard work, starting by volunteering at a puppy shelter before landing her first job at a flower shop at 14. She carries that same dedication into everything she does. Her passion for helping people and giving back to the community continues to drive her every day. At the heart of it all, she is here to make insurance feel a little more personal, a little less overwhelming, and always centered around what matters most, you. Well, welcome, Sydney. We really appreciate you being here today.
Thank you.
And we appreciate your story. I work in geriatric care as an occupational therapist and see a lot of people with macular degeneration. And I actually didn't realize hallucinations can be a part of that. So,
Oh yeah. I mean, she would see beautiful purple flowers outside of her window in winter, in Colorado when it was snowing. She was She didn't have any bad hallucinations. They were all pretty pleasant, but
just no writing on her bathroom wall. That's funny.
right. Yeah.
Well, one of
Yeah.
the things we talked about today is you go around and you do a lot of talks on frauds and scams with the senior population, and Gina and I have been kind of interested in that for some time now. Not necessarily for ourselves, even though we've had a few things come across our plate too, but just when we're talking about the audience we deal with, that's what they have to be involved with all the time. So I'd like to talk a little bit about, well, maybe what some of the more present scams are, what some of the more present frauds might be that are going on right now.
Yeah, definitely. And they're happening to every age group. I mean, I got one the other day from somebody who was from a recruiting company,
Hmm.
didn't give me any information. They wanted me to click a link, and that's, typical scam. And that will be sent to anybody of any age, but it's worse when it goes to seniors or those who even aren't used to their phones, right? It doesn't even have to be a senior. Especially those in assisted living. Um, they get a little bit confused with that, especially if you're more on the Medicare, memory care side of things. And prevalent ones that I've found recently, even just searching it up online, you'll see what they call the grandchild scam. And
Hmm.
so they'll use AI, and they'll call, a grandparent or even sometimes a parent, and they'll say, I'm in trouble, and it sounds like a grandchild. Maybe not exactly, but it's confusing enough, right? And it's scary enough that you don't even think about it because you're so overwhelmed. It puts you in a state of shock. And they say, oh, I can't pay my bills, or my car broke down. I'm in this place, and I need this much money. Send it to me this way. Give me your card information, download this money sending app, or whatever it may be, where they can access your account and take your money, or even have you just send them money. Even that's not great, right? Even if they don't break into the account. And so those are becoming a lot more prevalent with AI, from what I've noticed. And I think that's a big one to watch out for, is those calls and even texts that are claiming to be somebody else, because they can use technology to create a fake number, even a real name, a real person, right? And even if, like we're talking about vision, if you can't see that well and you see the contact photo, it could look like somebody you know. And so that's a huge one that's been out there lately. My biggest advice for that, though, is having a safe word. And I think
Okay.
that's the biggest piece of advice when it comes to families overall, is have a safe word when those call and you're not sure. I mean, only your family knows it, only your friends know it.
Well, and that, I looked up while looked up the name of the movie was Thelma, and that was what was happening to
Um,
her. She had the
mhm,
AI, the voice, it sounded like her grandchild,
Yeah.
coming across. So,
And that's kind of a comical story. I think based sort of on a true story, but they took it to an
mhm,
extreme. And she
right.
goes and gets a friend's motorized chair, and they go hunt down the
Mhm,
person, and she confronts them. And but yeah, it's a real thing that's happening, and it can be so subtle. Um,
mhm.
what are some of the more I guess subtle kind of ways that scams happen that aren't as blatant as, I need help, I need your money.
I would say social media is a big one. Even I've had this happen to me on Facebook,
Hmm.
where I had a friend of mine message me and say, "Oh, my old account, something happened to it. I think they said it got hacked and it's no longer there. And so this is my new account. I just need your help. Can you click this link and do this and follow this?"
Mm,
And at first I was thinking, "Oh, yeah, I'll help my friend." Same contact photo. It looked very legit. I looked at the account and everything. It wasn't. And if I were to click the link, probably would have, it could put a virus on your computer, virus on your phone. They can get access somehow by doing that. And I think that is one of the smaller ways and subtle ways that they can do that. Or even ads. Some of the ads hackers and scammers will put out there on social media. You click
mm,
it and it's not the actual storefront, it's just appearing to be,
mm,
right? And then they'll take your money or even steal your card information, and you'll never get what you ordered. And it's so easy when you're scrolling on Facebook, you see, oh, I really like that dress, or wow, those
mm,
shoes, I've been needing some new shoes. And it's so easy to step into that and fall for it. And I think those are the ones that really trap people the most out of any others, right? Because they look like everything else.
Sure, sure. It looks like an ad, and you think, I know our kids tell us about, we have very savvy kids, and when I get text messages and I'm not sure, I ask one of them because I keep getting a DMV one, and it claims it's the North Carolina
Yeah.
Department of Motor Vehicles, and it's really long too. And I every time like, nope, nope, mom, that's a scam. It's not real, and it's
Mhm.
crazy the length that they're going to make it sound like it's real. Um,
The DMV will not be texting though. Not like
yeah,
that. No. Maybe, hey, it's your turn in line. I don't know, but
they're
not
not
like that.
they're not that current.
No. And so that's a big one happening right now in North Carolina. Um,
Yeah.
all ages are getting that one.
Yeah.
What, the DMV one? The
Yeah. Have you
Yeah.
not
Or
gotten
the
that done?
No,
tolls,
I haven't gotten that one.
It says
mhm,
I owe money. I have overdue.
toll or whatever it may be.
Right.
Hmm.
I do get the looking for a job. I get that constantly. And
Hmm.
like you say, sometimes they don't even put much on there, and you're supposed to jump on that kind of idea that doesn't make sense.
Yep. Yeah. And there's so many out there. And it's also so subtle too, where they're really trying to even use AI and technology to make it look real. And so you
Mhm.
believe it. And a lot of people I would imagine think, oh, well, technology has been growing. Maybe they are using this form of communication now. And that's scary in itself, right?
Yeah, yeah.
To trust a company and it not be that company.
Sure. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I know there's businesses out there where you order from them and they're not even legitimate, and you never
Hmm.
get the product you thought you were ordering. Even though, yeah, it seemed like you process an order.
Yeah.
I've got a
Yeah, and even putting your phone number in with some of those surveys, your phone number can get taken. You don't read the fine print, they can sell it to a lead generation company that can go elsewhere, um, that can be bought by scammers, right? And so just being careful with what you're clicking on, who you're giving your information to is the most simple advice to take.
And I know from our experience, Don got his information taken. We don't even know how it happened. Someone was trying to buy a car in his name, and
Oh wow.
he didn't lose his wallet or anything. Like, we have no idea where
Mhm.
this came from. So I don't know if you can talk about some other things that are happening out there, or ways to be, cautious of potential ways people can steal your identity. I know Medicare has had the issue multiple times, people getting into
Yep.
Medicare. And so I know they're constantly, you get a new Medicare number all the time because of that.
Well, yeah, in a big way that scammers will go about the Medicare is first of all, if they're calling you and they're offering you some different plan, it's not even in the enrollment period as well. And even if it is, and they're not giving you too much detail, and right away they want your birthday, your name, your Medicare ID number, that is something to worry about. And they're not going to sit down, they're not going to explain it to you. And if you're on a supplement plan, you have a guarantee issue when you first go into Medicare for 6 months to be on that plan, right? And so if somebody were to call you and switch you to an Advantage plan without you even really understanding what's going on, in order to go back on that supplement plan, there's a long list of health questions. So that's a big deal for a lot of people. And that can really shake them up. And I've even heard this from some clients from their kids that that's what happened and they're trying to figure it out. And those who are in assisted living, they're picking up the phone and they're very confused by this. Or they don't even really understand it, right?
Hmm.
And that's kind of the point. I've experienced that myself where agents won't give a just explanation, right? They're not being necessarily ethical with it. Ethical enough, but not completely. And that's really dangerous because that can really shake up somebody's health. And another one is a lot of times they'll call and they'll offer, oh, you can get this and this and this supplies, and um you know will pay for it, try to get reimbursement or something through Medicare, but it was really all just a scam. And so when people call and offer and say, yeah, Medicare will cover this, you just have to give me your, info, give me your bank draft info, right? And it's a lie. They're not going to give you anything. Medicare's not going to cover it. And that's why it's also a good idea to work with an agent, even if I'm not actively your agent. Give me a call, right? Ask me about it before you do anything. And with anything else as well, call and ask. Call to confirm it before you give that information. And also, way back when, very old Medicare ID cards were social security numbers. I don't know if you
Hmm.
know about that, but
Hmm.
that was obviously pretty dangerous. Imagine if that was the case now, we'd be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
um, I always say protect that Medicare ID number like it is a social security card still.
Hmm.
Um, and I don't know how people can, go in and get your information. I do think if you think keep those things readily available on your computer or even saved into some sites, there's ways people hack,
Mhm.
right? It's all that side of it. I have no idea how they even do that, but I know it's possible to get into different websites and everything. If it's a good company, they'll let you know there was a breach, but
Hmm. Yeah, I know some of our banks are really good. Our credit cards are good about if they
mhm.
suspect something, they'll just issue a new card and close out the other one. Having those kinds of protections um, can be
Yeah.
very, very helpful. What other things have you seen, or what can people do, excuse me, to help prevent these kind of issues?
I think especially with the credit card side of it, something that I was looking into was if your parent is in an assisted living or even senior living and just can't handle all of those bills and has trouble online, will easily fall into those scams and all of those ads and whatnot. There's a way you can go in and you can become an authorized user
Hmm.
or your parent or your loved one. And I would say, do bills on a draft. And so you know exactly when it's all coming out, pay attention to it, get the credit card apps on your phone, right? Don't, keep your password secure. I don't even really necessarily agree with the passwords that you can save on your phone. I think you should keep a written notebook of them somewhere safe, right? Don't bring it out of the house or whatever else. But have your phone alert you. I think that's a big one. I know myself with my credit cards, I just have it in a summary notification. But if you know your parent's struggling with falling into those traps, you'll be able to keep up with it and catch it quickly. Whereas they may be confused and don't even really know that that happened or not.
Hmm.
A big one also is two-factor authentication. You can do that on your iPhone or Android, whatever it may be. And so that gives you some more protection. I know you can do that on most computers as well. Um, and yeah, just monitoring all of that. Make copies of the back of your credit card in case it gets lost. Keep those somewhere safe because how are you going to call the number if you don't have the back of the card?
Well, I
Um,
was kind of curious as to, you talk about, I just going through a situation where I switched companies and they were asking me for the two-step verification, which I've done before, but the setup was so difficult trying to set it up that
mhm.
they end up turning it off right now until I can figure it out. Um, but how do you, when you're dealing with somebody that's in the senior population, how do you get them to understand that, or how do you do that for them?
Right. Yeah, and I encourage families, especially if possible, grandkids, to help, but we all know that's not always the case. And so when I do my seminars, I have a step-by-step how to,
Hmm.
and usually it shouldn't be too complicated. You just go to your settings and you type that in, and it should pop up. And it's different with the problem is it's hard to explain necessarily because it is different with every website, right? Every
Mm.
login. I know on my computer, I went to my computer settings and I have a password that needs to be entered. I log in, and then anytime I log into something, there's a password. And so I always have both of them. Um, and that's, you can just do that through your computer settings. And so it's hard to say generally, oh, this is how you do it, right? Um, but I also tell them you can always give me a call for that reason too.
Yeah, there's so many things we have to watch out for nowadays, that it can slip by us really easily. And, I'm saying that as a 55-year-old person, and I know when people are older and they're not used to current technology or they have some degree of confusion, some people can be over trusting. Um, and I've heard you got to be careful about even responding to some of these calls that you get that are automated. If that
Mhm.
if it captures your voice, that they can turn around and use that. Um,
Oh yeah.
I've talked to some seniors, they want to say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not interested today." I was like, if it's a scam call, just hang up. You don't need to be polite about
Yes,
it.
because they will not be polite to you. And even those emails that you get that are saying, hey, this is offered to you, it's what we call a phishing email. And it
Mm-hmm.
can sound so accurate and so real. And you want to respond and know more, but even responding can give them something, right? Even clicking on the link can definitely give them something. And I heard a story from somebody, I was presenting the seminar, and she opened a link, I think it was from her email, and they got in and took all of this information from her computer, and all of a sudden her saving account, I think it was, got hacked into or something like that, and she lost a bunch of money.
Oh.
There's a few more steps in the story, but it's really scary, and there's a lot they can do with technology. So,
And with somebody like that, when they lose their savings, do banks cover that somehow, or do they help you in some way?
not from my experience. Banks won't do that. I know if there's a charge that's not from you, they will go ahead and close your account and everything and do what they can. But I haven't seen it where they can give you that money back. I know on my credit card, this has happened before where I've told them, I didn't do this. This was not me. And they took it off.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's different for a credit card versus debit card or bank account, right?
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Um, but I heard another story as well. It was somebody's daughter was on TikTok, and those games where you can play money, right? And it's like an ad, and you play this game and you get a bunch of money from it, but you have to give money. And so
Mm-hmm.
what she did was give money, and then that was it. And it was a lot of money too. And so that is really dangerous because that's confusing, right? And that can confuse even a teenager to somebody who's in their 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And you just need to be so sure of who you're sending money to. I don't even really use those money sending apps myself. They do
Mm.
kind of freak me out a little bit. I think it's so public. People can see who you send money to, even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were talking about that recently. I mean, we have a 16-year-old and she gets paid via Venmo. That's how that's this very small business, and that's how she pays. And we were talking about the private versus public settings on, I don't know if it's cash, one of those things. And it's like, yeah, I can see my niece paid, this much money to somebody else. And it's like, why do you need to see all that? And I know some of them you can set to private. So you're not seeing everybody's transactions, but I found that kind of odd that.
Yeah, and it's serious because you're putting your banking information on there. I think I looked at it. I'm pretty sure you can't add a credit card to it. Um, and that would be a little bit better, I think. But it seems to me when you put your information out there like that, it's out there,
Hmm.
right? Even websites, if you don't check if they're secure, your information is on that website.
and it doesn't go away either. You know, being on the internet, once it's out there, it somebody has copied it, somebody has done something with it, and so it's always out there. You
Mm-hmm.
know, we almost need to follow the old saying, you know, if it's too good to be true, don't do it, kind of thing.
Yeah, as simple as it is, right? It's the simple things that will protect you at the end of the day.
So, any other thoughts of what other things, anything else that somebody could do in now? Just as a note, I just opened this before the interview, but I got a thing from TransUnion, which is one of the three credit bureaus, and they mentioned that there was a scam on my. I have to look it up now because I use my bank has a security what do you call it, process that checks my
Credit
account and all that. So
protection
I'm
or
going to go back on there and see what's going on. But they said nothing was accessed from their account, but they were letting me know this scam. So I'm going to have to go in and find out what's going on with that. But you know, that's one of the things that I know when I got scammed. I went into the three credit
agent.
bureaus, TransUnion, Equinox, and there's one more.
Reliant. I know
Um,
Reliant's a credit union.
no, that's credit. You know, I'm just trying. But anyway, to go in there and you can close off your account,
Freeze your credit. Yeah.
and it allows anytime if I need to open it up for a certain thing, I can go in there and they can open up. They'll open up for as long as I want. If they want 5 minutes, they'll do it for 5 minutes or a half hour, and then it'll close back up. So mine are frozen, so they can't take any kind of credit out on it. But they sure got my Social Security and my stuff, my date of birth, which is not good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and especially those even going online looking at different Medicare things, right? Be
Mm-hmm.
careful where you put your social. Be so careful.
Mm-hmm.
I just know there's websites out there, not even just directly related to Medicare, but so many different things where it asks you for that information.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not real. It should not be trusted. It's always best to call, and I think that's the best caution to take is call. If you are getting that weird call from a family or friend, weird message, call. If you're seeing a weird email from a company that you think you know, right, or that is reputable, call them. Even your bank, right? If you're getting a call from them, call. Even if you kind of sound silly because they're like, well, yeah, I was just on the phone. I don't know. Something like that. That
Right.
happened to my uncle. And he called and they were like, yeah, we were actually calling you about this. I see it in your account, right? And but it's better to be safe than sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and also there's certain apps you can get. Speaking of the credit cards, you can lock that. And so you can give them a call and ask them to set that up for you, and see if they can do that for you or on the app as well. Um, and also, I know there's a way to get emails about things that are happening with your bank or if they hear of anything. You can probably go online and set it to let you know, but you can also call them and ask, can you please alert me when these things are happening to your bank, right? And an email instead of waiting for a letter, right? Sometimes that prolongs the process. And one thing that I really looked into was AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. I bet the other carriers do as well, but they all have apps that they recommend that are that work with them and should be free, based on what I read, that call block. And so I usually tell people to go RoboKiller and also, before any of that, go in and change your settings to block unknown callers. Make sure you save your doctors, your pharmacy, all of that first. And then
Mm-hmm.
block unknown callers, it'll just go straight to voicemail. RoboKiller will do the same thing, and it'll have a message pop up on your phone, and it'll say, this person, name, right? Start reading their message out, and you can accept it or decline it. But these apps recommended by these phone carriers are also something to look into. And I bet even if you were to call, maybe, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily bet on that. A lot of times it's out of the country, but try even calling a family member and seeing if they are able to help you walk through the downloading process and figure it out and even do it with you. I know with my grandma, she would always have a list of things for me when I came over, when it came to technology.
Mm-hmm.
I would always write it down with her and have her sit there and do it multiple times, right? So she would remember. And you can also go on Google Voice and you can sign up for a burner number. And so if you are somebody that really likes to do surveys, but your phone does not stop ringing because of that, your number is getting sent, and that's how you're getting Medicare calls, Medicare scams, all sorts of things. Go to Google Voice. I think there might have been a small price, but I think it's worth it. And have you ever called somebody and you've heard, "This is Google Voice, please state your name."
Oh,
Something.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what that is. And so it's protecting it. Robots won't be able to really respond. If it's a scam and they still respond, that's a bit much, right? In my experience, they don't. Um, but doing those practices can really help. And even, I know it's hard for a lot of people 65 and up to be able to go online and set those things up. And so I really recommend from both sides, from, under 65 family members of those who are struggling,
Mm-hmm.
urge them to urge them to be there to help them, and those who need the help, urge your family members to help you. Right? It's worth it. And as technology keeps growing, it's going to keep getting worse. Um,
Yeah.
and another big one is with the family members. Sit down and go to consumer.ftc.gov. And you can also sign up for alerts about scams there. And so
Oh,
that can alert you too. And there's also a do not call.gov for free where you can put your phone number on there. And, or I forget how exactly it has you sign up, but you can register your phone on there. And that way it'll prevent a lot of more calls, right? Especially, again, if you're the person who puts your phone number into all those surveys, which isn't necessarily bad. We all want to get that free cone or whatever it may be, right? Um, but really, even just doing a deep dive with your family and looking at that consumer.gov website, it gives you so much information that you may not know, and recent information too.
Mm-hmm.
I typically will send something out to my clients as well when I see a new scam happening, but not everybody's so lucky, and so that'll take care of it for you. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think really just don't leave each other alone. Stay involved. Talk about these things, talk about the safety, and do check-ins, see what's going on with your family members.
well, yeah, I'm a little because I know like my kids don't like to use the telephone. They're not big on telephones. Now, at my age, we still think about that. But like that grandmother that had the phone call that thought it was her grandchildren, a simple call to the parent of that child or the child themselves or whatever could have solved that. I'm just
Right.
wondering what what the senior population will be in a few years when they grow up and they haven't made these phone calls. They really need to. I think it's very important to make the
Mhm.
call to the bank, to make the call to a family member, and verify these things before you take these bold actions that we
Yeah,
tend
because
to
people
take.
get so used to doing everything by text and not speaking to people that
Mhm.
it can fall into these things easily. And I know, working with the senior population, there can be a little naivety and some people that are kind of stubborn and think, oh, I'm not going to get scammed. No one's going to pull one over on me. And they don't understand how quickly and how easily things can happen. So I think it's great that you do talks and, being able to talk about it proactively with your family members, saying, hey, this has happened. It happens to young people too. We need to be on the lookout for these things to bring that awareness. Because yeah, people, especially 75 plus, they grew up in a very different world and just
Mhm.
to understand the complexity of, well, how could they do that? How could, I keep my wallet on me, how could anybody get this information? And that understanding can be, um, they don't realize that information can get out there so easily.
Right. And I do think you're right about the stubbornness. That is very common. And it's also, people say it's hard growing up. Well, it's hard getting older, right? And I know that because I've experienced that firsthand with people I love. And I think no matter how stubborn, it's worth it to maybe urge and even, get your point across. It's really important. It's a matter of, health, financial stability, right? And that's really everything right now in the world we're in. Um, and there's just so much you can do to verify these things, even if it seems annoying.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
will save you a lot of hurt instead of everything being so instant. Take time to slow down and really think about it, right?
Yeah. So just kind of touch base with a little bit about like what you do in with your healthcare. Maybe talk just a little bit about that and as far as well, who you talk to and what you try to do with them.
Yeah, so I specialize in health and Medicare, but I also focus on a lot of other things like long-term care, short-term care, which is huge when it comes to having some help in the home, right? And being able to age in place or even go through hospice at home. I've had firsthand experience with that myself as well. And so that's really big to look at. Life insurance, dental, vision, disability, right? And something else that isn't necessarily insurance related that I've been looking into lately is Capstone. It's identity theft protection, and they have different layers. It's pretty cheap. But basically they'll do like a credit freeze assistance. I have it pulled up right here, credit monitoring, um, all different kinds of things, even homeowners and home title monitoring, because that's common as well, right? And that's very scary. So there's a lot that I do, and my focus is really more education and understanding than it is that sales, transactional, only going to talk to you once a year type of
Hmm.
deal, right? I think insurance is as personal as it is when you go to the doctor, right? And I think it should be treated that way. And I think it should be treated with respect. And you should be able to count on the person you're talking to show you all of the options and help you understand all the foundations and all of the different benefits before you even go and use your insurance because
Hmm.
there's so many people out there that are have an insurance policy but they're completely lost, right?
Hmm.
They're confused. They don't even know that there's preventative services. They don't even know that there's a really nice gym membership or they can get these meals after they've left the hospital or whatever it may be. There's so much to it. And
Hmm.
everybody deserves to have that right to understand what their insurance is doing for them.
Yeah, it is so complicated. I mean, I've been an OT long enough that I remember
Oh, yeah.
before they gave you all these options with Medicare, right? You didn't used to have options that it's overwhelming. Just Don turned 65 last year and just looking at the different choices and working in healthcare, I know the Advantage plans don't pay 100% for certain things like rehab services, and people
Mhm.
get fooled into thinking, "Oh, this is a good plan," because the companies that provide the Advantage plans, they're really out there marketing and advocating
Oh,
and wanting
yeah.
you to sign up. And so, yeah, having an agent like yourself to help guide you through that because, yeah, they just want you to sign up with their company and they're just going to tell you how wonderful it is and not give you the big picture, right?
And I do want to urge on that note too. You'll see, especially around this time of year, um, is your plan not doing this and this and this? Oh, well, call this number and we can offer you this and this. And that's the same thing as one of those calls. Especially, I urge again, if you're on a supplement and you want to stay there, hang up. Hang up on those people. Don't call the number on the screen. look for a local agent, reach out to me, right? Even if you're not North Carolina, I'm in North and South Carolina. So I have a team that's all over as well. So do that. Talk to somebody you trust. Don't call the number. If you're gonna go looking for a Ford at Ford, of course they're gonna sit there and pitch Ford all day, right? But if you want to look at everything, you're gonna go to CarMax. I'm
Right.
CarMax. I can show you everything, right? Um, that's what it's about, is really being able to choose what's best for you. And
Well, yeah, and I was looking at just recently. I've seen some ads come up about, if you're on Medicare, you should be getting this. I think they talk about a $900 uh, uh, not gift card, but being able to buy, and
a healthy food card.
it's what?
Are you referring to a healthy food card
Yeah,
or
but
over the counter healthy food card? Yeah.
yeah, and I know. I mean, we looked at all that kind of stuff, and there isn't anything like that, at least that I could see.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's yeah.
Yeah, right. And it may not be available for you, right? That's another thing. There's some plans that are, built for those with chronic conditions. There's some plans that are built for those with, conditions and Medicaid and Medicare. There's so much out there that
Mhm.
you also have to qualify for, right? And
Yeah,
so
yeah,
that's the confusing part too, is they want to rope you in. They want you to look at that plan and switch. They want to make money off of you.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
not how insurance should be. It's there's no respect in that, right?
yeah, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Figuring out the best plan for you. Yeah, Don learned not that long ago that he gets free gym membership, and
I was like,
it was,
whoa.
yeah, I think it was the YMCA that we found out about it from, and it's like, yeah, people
Yeah.
don't realize they can have these, as much as they promote, what you can get on these plans, there's things get overlooked.
Well, you found out that through one of the talks we did, where there was a person that didn't know about the VA, what the VA holds for them, and
Hmm.
different things that they could do with
Mhm.
that. So yeah, there's a lot of it is. Well, they make it so complex too that it's hard to figure it out. Yeah, so having somebody there to kind of guide you through it can really be helpful.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I mean, I there's even plans for VA. There's MA only plans for them, right? And I will sit down with a new client, right? And if there's nothing I can do, then that's sometimes even better because that means they're happy where they are, right? A client moves here and they need to stay on their plan. The plan's offered here. That's what they want to do. And I help them figure that out. Even
Hmm.
better.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, I want to be able to show all the options, and I still do, but it it's all should be centered around what they need and what they're looking for out of a plan, right?
Sure, sure. Yeah, because it's complicated. And it
Yeah.
helps to have, because we had insurance through the marketplace, and when Don turned 65, we had to
Hmm.
take him off that. And we had to go and reapply completely. And luckily, we had our agent we work with, who's like
Yeah.
you, that helped us do that. Because it's like, seriously,
Yeah.
we can't just
Mhm.
remove him off of it. I had to, reapply, and they make it difficult to go through these processes. So,
And
um,
they are making even the marketplace and the documents and all like proof of different things much more complicated because of the scams and everything
mm,
that happens, which I appreciate, of course.
yeah,
Um,
sure, for security reasons. Yeah. So that
yeah,
does.
yeah. I always say if I could pull the strings, I would, but all I can do is what I can do, right?
Right.
Oh,
Do you
well,
have any last pointers or things that are, or information about how people can reach you that you want to share with our audience today?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Calling me, I would say, is the easiest way. I also am really good about email, and that's just Sydney at hartnetthealth.com, and Hartnett spelled with two T's at the end. Um, and should I give my phone number here? Should we find
you
it?
can, you
Okay.
can. It's up to you.
Okay. Phone number is 704-502-4437. And I'm always happy just to answer questions, even if it's scam related, not so much insurance related, right? We deserve to have that community and some help when we need it. So I'm
Appreciate
always
that.
here.
And you mentioned you're licensed in North and South Carolina, but if someone is in another state, you have a way to connect them with other agents. Is that
Yes. So I actually work with about, I think, 5 other agents,
okay?
and they are all local to North Carolina as well, but they have their licenses elsewhere. And a big
Oh,
part of
okay.
that is because when their clients moved, their clients wanted to still have them as their agent, so they went ahead and got their license in that state. And so that
Okay.
kind of kept happening. There's even one in California. I also have one that speaks, I think, 4 different languages.
Oh, okay.
So if, that's a worry, I can help there too.
Okay. That's good to know.
Well, Sydney, it was really very enjoyable talking with you. We
You
gave some
too.
really good information. I think this will really help people. And so I really want to thank you for being part of this and joining in with us today.
Yes, thank you. I really do hope it helps a lot of people out there and makes an impact.
Yeah, just that awareness. And we'll put your information up in the description. So thank you
Perfect.
for being here with us today, Sydney. And that's our podcast. We thank the viewers for listening or watching today. Please leave a comment, share this information with other people, give us a like. You can listen to this anywhere you listen to podcasts as well as watch it on YouTube. If you want to learn more about Don and I, go to our website at focusedhealthyfamily.com. You can access all our podcasts that we've done. You can learn about the consulting work I do, helping caring for aging loved ones. You can learn about Don and the EFT practice that he does. Again, you can see us on Facebook as Focused Healthy Family, Instagram, Focused Healthy Family 1, YouTube at Focused Healthy Family, and join us each Thursday where we air a new podcast. We've interviewed a number of people, like as we did today with Sydney, and as well as discussing many different topics. If you have an interesting topic or someone that you'd like to connect us with for an interview, please reach out to us and let us know. And join Don every Tuesday evening, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where he does a live tapping call on Zoom. You can see that link on the website, Focused Healthy Family. And remember, how you speak to your children and your loved ones today shapes their future and yours.